Hello, everybody, and welcome into another season preview show here at the Hockey Writers YouTube channel. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and we are up to the Los Angeles Kings as we continue to preview the season coming up. We're into training camp. Well, training camps pretty much are over for most teams, and preseason has begun. Not for most teams, all teams. Preseason is already here. So, Raz, how's it going?
Not bad. Getting back into the swing of things with school, and then, as you mentioned, season's coming up. So, a bunch of previews, predictions, all that good stuff starting.
Yeah. And the off season was too long. I'm so happy that at least preseason. I mean, preseason is still too long. Next season there will be less games, so we'll have to endure it for this season. But we're gonna have some a little bit of a reprieve next season, and hopefully for good now, because preseason just too long. It just
I agree.
2 to 3 games, it's good enough.
Yeah,
and then
stops your players from getting a chance to get injured as well. So
that's right. Well, we'll talk about what of the new additions already happened with that. But let's start right there with the new additions up in forward group. That's Corey Perry, Joel Armia. Unfortunately, Perry won't be playing for the Kings for the next. It's not 6 to 8 weeks anymore, but it's still a long.
Still about a month or whatever.
Yeah. So unfortunately, he won't start the season with the team, but he still will be there at some point. So what do you think about these two guys coming into the forward group? The only two new additions, of course, Andrei Kuzmenko re-signed. He's going to be there for a full season. But these two new guys, probably more middle six guys. But what do you think about their coming in?
Yeah, I think it completely changes the dynamic of the bottom six for the Kings. You look at how Jim Hiller deployed his lines last season, especially in the playoffs during crunch time and, in tough situations. And it really seemed that he didn't have the trust in the younger guys like Helenius, Turcotte, to really play in those crucial big moments. And I think now with, veteran presence in Joel Armia and Corey Perry, he has a fourth line or at least a bottom six that he can trust more and actually play in those situations, which then, helps the stoppage of overusing other players, which I think we all saw in their first season towards the tail end of that first round against the Oilers, how, some of their top players and top lines were getting tired fast because of how much they were playing. So I think these two guys give the Kings a little bit more of flexibility in that sort of sense.
And I'm sure Kings fans hope that Corey Perry can help eliminate the Oilers this time if they do meet up in the first round, which is, again, a very distinct possibility that could happen again. And Perry seems to be to just book the Kings into the Stanley Cup final, I guess. This season.
That's what that's what the trend is. So.
We'll see. But the thing is you want to win the cup, not just get there. And that's unfortunately that's what Perry keeps having that bad luck of. I guess it's lucky that he gets there, but it's bad luck that he can't win it.
One of the weirdest things I've seen, honestly.
It is very weird, and we thought maybe he would retire this season or last season. But wants to move on and see how he does with the Kings. And unfortunately, he won't be playing for about a month or so. But hopefully
he was brought in. He was brought in for his playoff play, anyways. So as long as he's ready to go when that comes around, then I think it'll all be fine.
Yeah, and it's not really that long. I mean, 6 to 8 weeks is long term, but he's he should be back and ready to go in about a month, and hopefully for the rest of the season as well.
All
right, move to the rest of the forward group, which of course gets Andrei Kuzmenko for a full season. We've got a lot of the same guys coming back. Anze Kopitar is a swan song this season because he did announce his retirement after this one, so I'm sure he's going to want to go out with a bang. What do you think about what other storylines are you looking at in the forward group?
Yeah, I think the biggest one is Quinton Byfield, obviously, and how he's sort of looked at as, the next one center, the next, top line guy to replace Kopitar. And so how does he sort of continue to morph into that type of player? He did have that breakout season, not last year, but the season before, playing on the wing there with Kopitar and Kempe. And then He moved back to his natural position at center last season. It didn't start off, too hot, but gradually he improved. And so now you're thinking, okay, well, he's already got the nerves and the differences of, moving back to center out of the way. So this is now the season where let's try to build on that and actually, start being a difference maker. So I think that's the biggest storyline, at least for the forward group.
For sure. And I mean, they're hoping that Byfield can take that over. I mean, he had big strides last season, right? You said so. But yeah, he has to really take it over because Kopitar is still producing at a high level, even though he will be retiring and he's up there in age. But you wouldn't know it with him, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move now to the defense, which saw some additions. Not some big additions where everyone was kind of hoping. There's a bit of mixed feelings, I guess, on these two guys. So Cody Ceci, Brian Dumoulin coming in, not big names. They're more maybe second, third pairing guys. What do you think about these two coming in and hopefully improving the defense here?
Yeah, I think first off, it looks tough when you had Vladislav Gavrikov and then Jordan Spence, and unfortunately Gavrikov chose the Rangers and Jordan Spence wanted a bigger role with the Ottawa Senators. So now you're like, okay, well, Cody Ceci and Brian Dumoulin, those aren't really the best guys to come and replace that type of role. That being said, they bring veteran presence. Cody Ceci has had success with the Oilers, Brian Dumoulin with the Penguins. So these guys are players who know how to win. It's just that it maybe wasn't in the same stage of their career. These are both older guys now as well. And so you really think about how much of an impact they can actually make. I do think undoubtedly this defensive core is weaker than it was last season, especially on paper. But it's also important to note that the Kings are, this defensively focused team. And as a collective, their first focus on any puck is, be in the right place defensively. So I wonder how much of an actual impact or slide the defensive group is going to take and ultimately how much it actually impacts the Kings. I don't think it's going to be too noticeable just because of just the system that the Kings play.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they play a really good team defense. So, I mean, it's not just the defenseman. You've got, a lot of the forward group is really good defensively too. Yeah. So, Andrew Doughty will be here right at the beginning of the season rather than missing. How much did he miss last season?
Quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Up until February there.
Yeah. So he's going to be there to start. So, I mean, that's a big deal for the defense, even though he's an older guy too.
Yeah.
But he's still a ridiculously good defenseman and still a legit top pairing guy. So being here to start the season is going to be a big thing too. All right. Well, the goaltending, no changes at the starting position. Darcy Kemper comes back, but they did add a backup, Anton Forsberg, and Phoenix Copley I threw in there too because he's going to probably be able to maybe compete with Forsberg, but I'm assuming Forsberg's probably going to be the backup. What do you think about the tandem, particularly the backup position here?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, Kemper's coming off of Vezina season. So I don't think at its core, the goaltending is going to, drastically change. Kemper should, even if he doesn't have, the exact same season, I don't expect the fall off to be that massive. As well, it alludes to the fact that the Kings, again, play such a defensive style that, leaving goaltenders out to dry isn't something they do very often. And so their goaltenders are kind of aided in that sense. I think Anton Forsberg is definitely upgraded from David Riddick. So he should be able to provide that relief for Kemper throughout the season whenever needed.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he did have his ups and downs in Ottawa, but like you said, those Kings have a better defense and better system than the Senators do. So I think he might have a better season with a defense like the Kings have in front of him. You'd think, at least.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how he does. But yeah, like you said, Kemper's the guy. He's the starter. He'll play most of the games. And I don't think he'll have a drop off either. He seems to have kind of rediscovered what he was from a few seasons ago. So I think the Kings goaltending is probably pretty good.
Agreed.
All right. Well, looking at the division, this is an interesting division because you got some up and coming teams like the Anaheim Ducks, which might put it together this season. There's a lot of young talent there. You've got the Canucks, which might turn their season around from last season. They still have a pretty good team. And of course, the top guys, Vegas Golden Knights, Edmonton Oilers. Where do you see the Kings? Are they still in that kind of fighting for the second, third spot? Or do you see maybe a drop off this season?
Yeah, I think in any other division, you could say the Kings might have suffered a drop off. But I think in the Pacific, that's like super top heavy, in my opinion, that it's really the Golden Knights, the Oilers, and the Kings. And I also just think with what the Oilers have lost this offseason in terms of their forward group, especially, the Kings might have a chance at, finishing second again. It all depends. I mean, obviously, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl together are what they are going to be every year, so you can't ever count them out. But they did take a massive hit offensively, so I think the Kings have a good opportunity to repeat what they did last season and finish second, as well as the fact that, like you said, the Canucks, their problems were not really focused on ice. It was all off ice struggles, JT Miller, Elias Pettersson. So if they can focus on hockey, do they have a chance to be in that conversation as well? So I think with the Canucks and maybe potentially the Flames, with how Dustin Wolf continues to play, that can make the top 5 interesting and the wild card position or wild card race interesting. But in terms of where the Kings stack up, I think either second or third is probably where I'd have them.
Yeah, I see that too. I mean, the thing is there are some teams. I don't think the Ducks take that big of a step this season. They might not finish as low as they were, although they were in the playoff discussion for a bit there.
Yeah.
So I mean, there could be an interesting kind of battle there. But I think the Pacific's a lot better than. I'm hoping that it will start becoming more competitive as from the past. Like, it used to be one of the toughest divisions.
Yeah, all 3 Californian teams.
Yeah,
at one point. Yeah.
And then you had the Canucks even in there, and then you had pretty much a lot of the teams in the Pacific were competitive teams.
Right.
Even like you say, with the Sharks too. I mean, I don't know if there was any team that was really bad. But I mean, I guess
maybe the Coyotes, but
when they were in the Pacific, So I mean, they were probably the one, but for the most part, this division was so tough.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that's because I love the competition, whereas every team is really tough to play against.
It's been a while since Pacific's been competitive, so
but
I mean, like you said, it is trending in the right direction.
There's a lot of young talent in this division, and especially when the Sharks get all their young guys in their prime. Oh my gosh, this division is going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our quick fire round here, and these are all just quick 1 or 2 sentence answers for these. So we'll start with the biggest storyline going into this season, and we've talked about a few things, but what do you think is the biggest one?
I'm gonna go with, what can this team do in Kopitar's final year? Can they finally find some playoff success in his last year and give him one last, great season? Ken Holland's tweaks to the roster, are they good enough to hopefully find some playoff success? Because that's what he was brought in to do, right? Make the little changes, the little tweaks to get them over the edge. And so I guess I would say that actually is the biggest storyline, is, did he do enough?
Yeah, and I mean, there is some, of course, the deadline. We'll see what he kind of works with that. He's done some moves with the Oilers when he was there where he kind of bolstered the team. So we'll see how that goes. And I mean, this is way in the future, but there's talk about him going after McDavid if McDavid does go to free agency, because of course he was.
That's a whole other
discussion,
whole other thing. Yeah,
we'll wait on that one. All right, next one, breakout stars. Who do you see as someone breaking out this season?
Yeah, I think Alex Laferriere has continued to show progression since being drafted in the 3rd round back in 2020. And so, for a guy that was drafted in the 3rd round, you don't expect him to make the team right away, which he did. And then you don't expect him to, take that big of a next step the year after that, which he did as well. So you're like, okay, well, when does this stop? Is he just going to continue to get better? And I think the one thing about Alex Laferriere that I've noticed is his work ethic. He just continues to work and get better. And so I would not be surprised if he took another big step, especially after getting that contract extension.
Yeah, I was going to say he's got that big extension there, so he's going to be working on. Well, I mean, it seems like the progression is on and up, is trending up. So I think he'll probably have a good season again.
Yeah, and then the other player I'd say is Brant Clark, right? The Kings decided, okay, they're going to stick with Brant Clark and move Jordan Spence. So now he's kind of that main offensive defenseman who should be given a larger role and more opportunity to play. So how does he take that and run with it?
Yeah, Brant Clark, he's always on the cusp, but you're like, is he going to be there yet? I think it could be this season. And I mean, he did have the opportunity last season when Doughty was out, and it seemed like he had some spurts there, but I think he's got a lot more for sure. He's really young still, so a lot more potential in his game. Yeah. All right, who do you think needs to bounce back this season from last year?
I think there's one clear answer, and it's got to be Trevor Moore. He had 31 goals back in 2023, 2024, and then just somehow couldn't get back in that same rhythm last season. He only scored 18. It seemed like he was fighting the puck a bit. He couldn't find the back of the net, and it wasn't a great season for Moore. But I think if he starts to find that offensive game again, that just adds to the list of weapons the Kings have offensively.
Yeah, he's been really good for the Kings since coming over from the Maple Leafs way back when. So I think he can definitely get back to that. And I mean, that's a big drop off from being a 30-goal scorer down to 18.
It was honestly surprising, like just the way it would just not land for him. It wasn't even that he was playing bad. It was just he wasn't getting the bounces either. So I think his luck has to change.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think he hopefully not have another season where he don't get the bounces too. All right, what do you see as potential X factors this season? I mean, it can be a player, it can also be just like a situation like special teams or something like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Andrei Kuzmenko, just because the Kings were linked to so many elite players in the offseason. Marner, Besser, Ehlers. The truth is they couldn't land any of them. The only player that, they were able to bring back was Andrei Kuzmenko, who's that right shot scoring forward they desperately need. And it's not like, I mean, about Kuzmenko. He has the ability to be a dynamic, game-changing player in the offensive zone. It's the consistency that's the problem. So he's found chemistry with Kempe and Kopitar at the tail end of last season. So can he build off of that and rack up those points? Because if he does do that, then, people are going to forget really quickly about the talent that the Kings missed out on in the offseason.
Yeah, I mean, Kuzmenko, I don't know if he's ever going to get back to that 70-point guy that he was in Vancouver for the one season. I mean, the Kings, of course, hope that could happen.
Right.
But I mean, he is very skilled. And like you said, he kind of fit in again on a team on the Kings top line. And the power play, I think, got a lot better when he was acquired.
Drastically improved as soon as he was implemented. Yeah, it was insane.
So, I mean, that alone could really help the Kings, too, if their power play is better with him. Yeah, that's a big X factor. I think Kuzmenko is I hope he does because I really like him as a player. And I was really disappointed that he wasn't able to just keep building on what he was doing. He's still in Vancouver here if he did. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he does this season. All right, let's shift to prospects. And I mean, the Kings have, I don't know how loaded they are with the roster, but do you see any prospects kind of surprising in preseason?
I think the clear answer is Liam Greentree. He was drafted 26th overall in 2024. Known as a goal scorer with a wicked shot. And we mentioned that Corey Perry won't be available to start the season, so that opens up a spot that Liam Greentree could try and fill. I guess it all depends on how he performs in the preseason. There's guys like Akil Thomas, Hellenius, Andre Lee that are all also fighting for that one spot. So in terms of talent, Green Tree has the most, but even if he is the best player out of those 4 or 5, is he really suited to play on the fourth line, or do they let him have a chance in the top 6 and move someone else down? I mean, there's lots of moving parts, but I do think there's a decent chance he could be on the roster.
Yeah, I love Green Tree. He had such a good season with Windsor Spitfires last year, and yeah, he's been really good. And I was really surprised where the Kings caught him in the draft.
Right.
I thought he was definitely going to be drafted higher, but he's showing that he probably should have been drafted higher the way he's been playing. So I could see that for sure. What about other prospects? You see, I mean, anyone to watch. I mean, the Kings prospect pool is, I mean, I don't know if it's the highest. It's not the lowest. It's more in the middle.
Yeah.
Who should everyone be watching this season?
Probably Henry Brucewicz.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to pronounce that last name, but yeah, they just took him 31st overall in the last draft, and he's played one preseason game. He looked pretty good. So probably keep an eye out for him. I'm not entirely sure, but I assume he's going back to London. If not, then the AHL. But that would probably be the guy to watch out for. Oh, also Carter George, who's just continuing to tear it up in at any league he's playing. He was loaned back to the OHL this morning, I believe. So won't see any more of him in a Kings sweater this year, but definitely keep your eyes out for him in Owen Sound.
Yeah, he's one of the top goalie prospects right now. I mean, didn't make my top 10 in my previous one, but he's honorable mention. So he'll end up being in the top 10 at some point.
He'll be there eventually, yeah.
Especially if he puts up another great season in OHL this year too. All right, this one might be quick. Who do you see leading the team in scoring this season, forwards and defense?
Adrian Kempe. I mean, he's done it for the last number of seasons, and he's heading into a contract year. So he's playing for that next contract. So that gives every player that extra boost, that extra momentum to do the most they can. And so, none other than Adrian Kempe.
All right, what do you see defense? Is it Drew Doughty or does Brant Clark come into the conversation?
I'd like to say it's Brant Clark, because then you can really say that he's taken a step forward, and we're seeing some consistent production from him. I think with the opportunity to hopefully play on the first power play unit, it should be Brant Clark that ends up with the most points. But if it's not him, it'll be Doughty.
Yeah. I mean, last season, of course, he didn't have the chance because, he was hurt for most of the year. But I think Clark, if he does lead the team at defense scoring, that's a good thing for him.
Right.
All right, final thing, bold prediction. What do you got for a bold prediction this season?
Well, since it's a bold prediction, might as well go with the boldest thing possible. The Kings win the Stanley Cup and give Kopitar his third cup in his final year.
There you go. That'd be the feel-good story of the season too. and that they might have gotten past the Edmonton Oilers for the first time.
Yeah, that's also possible. And Corey Perry finally changes the narrative.
There's an extra storyline onto that too. Perry breaks the curse.
Yeah.
He seems to have started.
Breaks the curse with the team that was his biggest rival for almost his whole career. That would be a story.
That would be, definitely. All right, we'll see how the Kings do this season, and if they can make that bold prediction come true. But the Kings should be a good team regardless. They still have a pretty good forward group, defense. And, of course, the goaltending and the system is always a thing that seems to keep them right in the mix of the Pacific Division playoffs. So thanks, Raz, for coming on and talking the Kings. Make sure to check out everything at thehockeyriders.com. We've got great preview content out there already. Lots of stuff going on. We got preseason games going on. We got recaps. We got takeaways. Lots of fun stuff to take a look at. And all of a sudden, all as well as our Substacks and other YouTube channel content. We got all the season previews. Only one team remaining, the Edmonton Oilers. We've talked about them a lot on this. They're the last one to come out. So check them all out. We got 31 teams out on the YouTube channel. So check all those videos. But until our next preview, which will be the Edmonton Oilers, we will see you next time.